Okay, so everyone's talking about India's electric vehicle market, right? It feels like it's absolutely exploding. But with all that noise, it's kind of hard to tell who's actually winning the race. Well, we're going to cut through all that. We've got the latest numbers from this past November, and we're going to see who's really leading the pack, who's trailing behind, and you're going to want to stick around for this. There's a really surprising twist in the data that affects, well, pretty much everyone. So let's dive right in. So this is the big question, isn't it? Who is really winning the race for India's massive EV market? You hear a lot of chatter, these global giants going head-to-head with the local champions. But honestly, opinions are just opinions. The real story? That's in the sales numbers. So let's put the speculation aside, follow the data, and find out who's actually sitting on the throne.
All right, Section 1, the undisputed leader. And when you first start digging into the numbers, you expect a tight race for the top spot. But what we found, well, it's not that at all. It's not even close. There's one brand out there that isn't just leading, it's absolutely dominating the field.
41%. Just let that number sink in for a second. 41%. We're talking about a super competitive, crowded market here, and one single company is selling almost half of all the electric cars. That's not just a lead, that is an incredible, unbelievable level of market control.
So who is this giant? Well, the company behind that massive number is none other than India's own automotive powerhouse, Tata. They have just planted their flag firmly at the top of the mountain. Right now, they are absolutely the brand to beat, and they've carved out a huge lead in what is, let's be honest, one of the most important EV markets in the world. And this chart, wow, it really drives the point home, doesn't it? Just look at the size of that blue slice for Tata. At 41%, their market share is bigger than their next two biggest competitors, MG Motor and Mahindra Electric put together. Think about that. That just shows you the massive mountain everyone else is trying to climb right now. All right, moving on to the challengers, because no leader can ever get too comfortable. There are always others nipping at their heels, and in this case, there are a couple of major players right behind Tata fighting hard for every piece of the market they can get. So let's translate those percentages into actual cars on the road. This bar chart makes it super clear. In November, Tata EV sold, just over 6,000 EVs. Now look at the next two. MG Motor is down at about 3,600, and Mahindra Electric is right there with them at nearly 3,000. So yeah, Tata has a huge lead, but that race for the number 2 spot, it is incredibly close. We're talking neck and neck. So what you've got here are MG Motor and Mahindra Electric, both standing firmly on the podium. They are without a doubt the main challengers, and both have a really strong footing in the market. But you can see it right here. That climb from second or third place all the way up to that top spot, it is still a very, very steep one. Okay, so what about everyone else? Beyond those top three, the field gets really crowded really fast. This is where we see a bunch of big international names all scrapping for a piece of the action in India. And this is fascinating, actually. Look at this. You've got three massive global brands, Kia, BYD, and Hyundai, and they are all stuck in a dead heat. I mean, they each have exactly 3% of the market. It's a complete logjam down there. You've got these absolute giants battling tooth and nail for what is, when you think about it, a pretty small slice of the pie. Okay, so the picture seems pretty clear, right? You've got your dominant leader, a couple of strong challengers, and then a whole pack of smaller players fighting it out. But that's not the whole story, not even close. Because if we stop looking at just the market share and start comparing November's sales to October's, something else, something hidden, starts to pop out of the data. And here it is, the twist. Because while all these companies were competing with each other, something much bigger was going on in the background in November. We're talking about a surprising market-wide slowdown. And the crazy part, it hit every single company we've talked about. Let's just look at the raw data for a second, because the numbers don't lie. Just look at the columns for October and then November. See Tata.ev? Sales dropped from over 7,300 down to under 6,100. That's a big drop. Now look at MG. They fell from over 4,700 to about 3,600. And you can see it's the exact same story all the way down the list. Literally, every brand sold fewer cars in November than they did in October. And this, right here, is the key insight. This tells you that you can't just blame this on one company having a bad month or a clumsy marketing campaign. No way.
This was a universal market-wide dip. There was something bigger going on here, something that affected every single player, from the undisputed leader all the way down to the smallest competitor.
And this table really breaks down just how big that drop was. I mean, look at Tata. Their sales fell by more than 1,200 cars in a single month. MG and Mahindra, they were both down by about 1,000 cars apiece. And you can see even the smaller guys took a real hit. It's like the entire market just took a collective step back in November.
So, we've looked at who's on top, who's chasing, and we've uncovered this really unexpected slowdown. What does it all mean? What's the big picture here? Let's boil it all down to the most important takeaways. Okay, so here are the key takeaways. First, Tata EV's lead isn't just big, it is absolutely commanding. They are the clear king of the hill. Second, MG and Mahindra are definitely strong challengers. They've cemented their spots as number 2 and 3. And third, and this might be the biggest deal of all, the entire market, top to bottom, hit the brakes in November.
And all of this leaves us with one final and pretty critical question. Was this November slowdown just a one-off, a temporary blip caused by holiday seasons or some supply chain hiccup? Or, and this is the big one, are we seeing the very first warning sign that India's red-hot, explosive EV market might finally be starting to cool off? I guess we'll have to see what the next few months of data have to say. That's where the real story will be.